Annabel Kantaria. I've lived in Dubai 23 years, from England originally, but obviously proud to be from Dubai now. So after I had my second child, I decided that I was going to move from journalism and focus more on writing fiction. I'd always wanted to write a book, and I spent my whole life thinking the time isn't right, and then suddenly the time was right. So I stayed at home, I started trying to write a book. But I spent a lot of that time procrastinating, like most want-to-be authors do. So I would be looking up how to get an agent, looking up how to get published without actually having written the book. I got about 30,000 words into writing the book, and then the Emirates Airline Festival of Literature launched this competition called the Monte Grappa Writing Prize for unpublished authors. And the prize would be that an agent from London he was going to choose the winner. So he would read your work and he would then take you under his wing. You'd get to fly to London to meet him and talk about your career with him. And I just thought this is the most precious opportunity because it's really hard to get an agent in London. And the competition cost 200 dirhams to enter, and you had to submit a synopsis. And I think it was the first 5 pages of the manuscript. And I knew my manuscript was not that great at that point, but I polished those first 5 pages until they were the best 5 pages I've probably ever written. I wrote a really good synopsis because I'm a journalist. I found that quite, it was something I could do quite easily. I wrote a really, really good synopsis and I entered. And I just had to wait until, I think it was about 2 more months until they drew the winners, and I won. So it was fantastic. There I was, I hadn't finished the book, and I had a London agent who had read my work, loved it, picked it, and wanted to meet me in London. And yeah, that's it. It all took off from there. That was the beginning of my career as a fiction writer. And I have the Emirates Airline Festival of Literature to thank for that. It was really life-changing, actually. I can't stress that enough, because I remember the day that I had to go to the Lit Fest to hear who had won the competition, and I remember standing in my kitchen saying to my children, who at the time were aged 4 and 8, I remember saying this day could change my life, and it did. My 5th book is called The House of Whispers. It's out in August the 5th. It's available at the moment for pre-orders, but will be delivered to your Kindles or posted to you on August the 5th. It's about 2 university friends who fell out at university, and they haven't been in touch for 4 years, and then suddenly Grace announces she's coming back into Abby's life. And Abby is very uneasy about this because she's very scared about Grace coming back into her life, and you don't really know why. It's a very creepy story. It's got a huge twist in it, which I can't say much more about the plot without giving away the twist, but it's everyone who's read it absolutely loves it, and I'm really excited about it coming out in August. I found that I've done so much more reading during the pandemic. I think some people I've heard have not been able to read at all. I've been the opposite. I've absolutely dived into my reading during the pandemic. And I think there's a couple of reasons why. One is that it's escapism, isn't it? There's so much horrible stuff going on around us in the last year. It's been wonderful to lose myself in a book, and I've just been making time in my everyday life to read, which I don't usually. And the other thing is, I think somehow the pandemic and the whole lockdown took away that sort of frenetic living that we've all been doing. I was always running from A to B and busy. And suddenly during the lockdown, I had time. And I took all that pressure off myself, and it gave me time to read. And I rediscovered how much I love reading. And so now life is picking up again and we're all busy again. I'm still managing to find that time to read because I've rediscovered my love of reading because of the pandemic, which is brilliant. So I read so much, and I read so many different genres and authors, and I don't have a favorite author. My favorite book is always the one I'm currently reading. But if you're asking me which ones stick out in my memory, it would have to be A Prayer for Owen Meany by John Irving, A Suitable Boy by Vikram Seth, and maybe Donna Tartt, The Secret History. I think those are 3 really standout reads that I always think about still. And it's been like over 20 years, maybe 30 years since I read some of those.